Well, your baby is not a baby anymore, and now you have a full-on preteen in your life. They make you either want to cry your eyes out or curse your head off. Either way, in today's video, I'm going to give you some tips to help you get through this process. Hey guys, it's Vani from Mrs. Mom's Homeschool and welcome back to my channel. And today we're talking about something a little bit different. We're talking about that preteen age, when your baby isn't a baby anymore. And let's be real guys, it is a grieving process because you have this totally new person who's acting completely strange and different, and you are at a loss and don't know what the heck you're supposed to do. So today I just want to give you some tips of things that I have learned with my first child, my eldest child, who's a full-blown teenager, as well as a lot of the different books that I have been reading since that process started. I mean, when kids are in that process of developing, there is rapid growth happening in their brains, in their bodies, and in their hormones. So half the time you have to remember, like, it's not their fault that they're acting the way that they are. So my first tip is to make sure that you are educating yourself before the time happens. So if you are a parent of a child who's not a teenager yet, I recommend that you go out and get a whole bunch of books, preparing yourself for this stage of life. And at the end of this video, I'm going to give you my 2 favorite books that have really helped me through this process. If you're a parent and you're in the middle of this teenage, preteen stuff, these books are still going to help you, and so will these tips. I've been reading a bunch of books since my eldest got into her teenage years because honestly, it was a really hard process for me. I felt like I was grieving the loss of my child, not in like in a death kind of way, but I did feel like I was losing a child to her becoming a teenager. And I know it's different for everybody. I know that a lot of people don't have certain experiences. Some people have these like perfect experiences, and some people have horrible experiences, and sometimes it's somewhere in the middle. So I just want to teach you guys a little bit things that I've learned from my experiences. For those of you who haven't gone through this yet, or maybe you have a second child or a third child and it's been a little tougher because maybe the first one was easy. So I'm hoping to be able to give you guys a little bit of advice from the things I've learned and the things that I've read. So yes, my first tip is to read books and articles on the topic, on preteens and the development, and understanding what their brain is going through, what their hormones are going through, what their bodies are going through. It's going to help you to have a lot more compassion for them and be a lot more patient and calm with them. These books also are going to teach you how to communicate with them without fighting, without arguing, without taking everything personally, without having your feelings so hurt. Teaching you all the different types of things that you need to know to help you cope through this time, but also to help you get your kid through this difficult time of their lives as well. My second tip is don't listen to your friends or Facebook group horror stories, because there are some bad stories out there. There are people who are having bad experiences, but you have to remember that kids have different personalities. They have different ways that they are being brought up. They have different traumas in their life, different life circumstances. So you can't compare your situation to anybody else's. So don't compare yourself to this kid and this family who everything is going perfect. They have no trouble at all. They're like the perfect child. They're doing great in school. They're focused. Their mother and them have the best relationship in the whole world. But also don't compare yourself or start thinking about the kid who's 12 and addicted to like drugs or whatever, like the horror stories that you hear. Just focus on yourself and your family and your child, because your story is different from both of these extremes. And there's no point in listening to like really bad stories or even really good stories, because all you're doing is giving yourself more anxiety, wondering if your kid is normal and if your situation is normal and what did you do wrong, etc., etc. The third tip is to accept that this is a part of life. If your teenager is being a little distant from you, doesn't want to do as much things with you, is just becoming more independent, wanting to be more with their friends, these are good signs that your child is developing normally. it doesn't feel good to you because you're probably hurting over this, whole thing. It can be traumatic for a parent, but it's really good because your child is actually developing in a healthy way. God designed our bodies to go, it's called teenagers and preteens, because they're transitioning from being a child to an adult. So there's this whole awkward stage in the middle where there's a whole bunch of things happening inside of them that they can't help. They don't know what the heck is going on either. And it's totally normal, and it's good, and it's healthy, and it is okay. So accepting that is going to really help you get through this process. My fourth tip is to realize that your relationship with your child is going to change, and the family dynamic is also going to change. There's going to be a lot of times where things are just different. Like your kids are not wanting to do the same things that you always wanted to do. There may be times when things are like really annoying or really frustrating or not as fun as they used to be. Or there may be times where you're like, wow, this kid is really cool. Like we can do different things together. So either way, your family dynamic and the relationship between you and your preteen or teenager is definitely going to change. So being aware of that and having that acceptance is probably going to help you in the long run. My next tip is to make sure that you are processing your emotions and dealing with them and not holding them in and just letting them go. If you need to cry your eyes out, cry your eyes out. If you need to curse your head off, curse your head off. But don't do it in front of your child or at your child. Do not let them see all of the emotions that you are going through, because they're going through enough on their own, and they don't need to see you crying or upset that you're, grieving their process or whatever it is, that you're going through. But you definitely need to work through the emotions on your own in whatever way that is for you. If you need to cry, if you need to be upset, if you need to journal, if you need to talk to somebody, make sure that you are taking care of yourself and you're dealing with your emotions, because it is not healthy for you to just stuff them down, and it's not healthy for your relationship with your child either. If you can manage your emotions separately and deal with that, so that when you're with your kid, you can talk to them level-headedly and deal with whatever situations are going on calmly, it's going to be a lot better in the long run for the both of you. So make sure you're not letting your kids see you crying and you're saying like, oh, I wish you were still a baby, or I miss you when you were little, because these things are probably just going to annoy them or make them feel guilty for something they have no control over. And I know that I'm guilty of myself. I did cry a couple times in front of my teenager and let her know, like, this is hard for me. I miss you when you were little. But these things are not healthy for your teenager. You have to be a strong parent. You have to be there for them. You have to be their rock. You have to be emotionally stable, or at least, pretend to be. So keep your emotions behind closed doors. You can let your kid know, like, this is hard for me. Like, this is the first time this is happening. It's tough, letting them know in a more mature way without showing too much of your vulnerability in front of them, because you need to be the parent and the adult and the mature one. My next tip, do not blame yourself for anything that is happening. It is not your fault that they got their period early. It is not your fault they're rolling their eyes or talking back. You shouldn't go about thinking like, maybe I should have talked to them more about this, or maybe we should have done more of that, or maybe I should have spent more time with them, or I wish I would have did this, or I wish I would have did that. Like, don't torture yourself any more than you're already feeling tortured, because none of this is your fault. Like, maybe we've made mistakes as parents, but there's no point in looking back, right? We're here to grow and to move forward and to help our kids become successful and happy and healthy adults. So do your reading. If you've made mistakes, you work your best to reconcile those mistakes and work through them, but you need to move forward. Don't live in the past, and don't blame yourself for anything. This is a natural part of development. Like, I know that when my kid was turning into a teenager and there was like all these things happening, I blamed myself for a lot of things. And I thought that maybe if I did this, or maybe if I did that, or maybe if we didn't do this, or we didn't do that, things would be different. But it's just part of growing up, and it is okay. And if it's not, it will be. It will be okay. Friendships. Friendships are super important to kids at this age. They really need to be with peers of their own age that they can relate to, because at this age with teenagers, they start to lock themselves in their room. They pursue their own hobbies. Maybe they're watching TV or they're on their phones, depending on whatever access that they have, that you have given them, and they become a little bit more introverted, or it seems that way. But what they're really doing is they're seeking friendships and advice and things from their peers, because it's just the natural thing to do. It's part of their natural development. So it's important to help your kids, especially if you're a homeschooler, to help your kids to have those healthy relationships and friendships. And if they don't have friends, to join a co-op or join some sort of group where they can have friendships, because they need that time. If the guys need their time to play video games and just hang out. That's how guys do it, right? When the girls, they need somebody to cry to, or tell them about their crush, or talk or complain about you to their friends, or whatever it is. Like, we all need friends and we all need people, but especially during those teenage years, you cannot have your teen isolated. They'll fall into a depression. They need peers, even if it's just one like close friend. Help your child to find that good friend and allow them to develop a good relationship with them. Get to know the parents, plan some outings together. If you're going on a family trip, invite that friend to come along and have your child with that child. You'll see a brand new person. Let's say you have a teenager who's like moody and like they're not talking to you, and every time they have a family event, they're like, oh, I gotta do this, As soon as you bring their friend along, you're gonna see a totally different person. You're gonna see the child come right back out of them, because they're happy and they're having fun and they have a friend to join along with. They're not just with their younger siblings or with their parents. They have a friend to enjoy this activity with. And you're able to bond with that other kid as well, and with your own teenager, and create something special there. So having good friendships for your children is really important at this age. It's really important to them. The next tip is to just embrace this new person. It's kind of like a new little person. Like, get to know them. They may have new values and new thoughts and new beliefs that may even go against yours, and that can be tough. And we'll talk more about a lot of these things in different videos, depending on how much you guys are liking this one. But this is a new person with their own brain and their own thoughts. And it's really interesting to get to know your child, who's not a child anymore, who's becoming a young adult, and how their thinking and their thought processes are going, and developing a new relationship with them the way that they are now. And like I said, in another video, we'll talk about what happens if their values are different. What if they just lose their faith and they're believing in different things? Well, we can talk about, if you're interested in those kinds of things, because I'm reading a lot of books about it. I'm going through different situations myself now. But if you're interested in stuff like that, put in the comments below and I'll make another video. But enjoy time with your teenager. If you can squeeze in time to watch a show together, or watch a movie together, or do something that your teenager is into, find the time to do it, and never stop asking. Like, I go into my girl's room almost every night. Want to hang out? Want to watch a movie? Want to watch a show? And like, I tell you, like 90% of the time, it's like, no, I'm tired. Or no, or she's on the phone. I'm doing homework. Or no, I'm doing this. But there's that 10% chance where she says yes. And when she says yes, I drop everything I'm doing to get my butt in there and spend time with my girl. Because the times that she says yes is the times where she may need to talk, or she may need to cuddle, or she may need just that time with mom, So don't ever stop asking. Don't ever think that your kids don't want to spend time with you, no matter how rude they may be to you, or how, like isolated they may be. Keep trying, keep trying, keep trying, keep trying, keep trying. I'm getting all tongue-tied. Keep trying, because they may say yes one day, and it may be a very important day for you to be in their presence. They may need to talk to you about something, or conversation might come up. A lot of times teenagers have things they want to talk to you about, but they don't want to talk to you about. And like, it may come out in a show that you're watching, or a movie that you're watching, or like if you're playing a card game or some activity you're doing together, a very serious topic might come up that you guys will be able to talk about. So take advantage of those moments and never stop trying to hang out and spend time with your teen. I'm sorry about all this paper noise. I have my notes here that I wrote down so I can remember actually what I'm talking to you guys about. If you guys are having a really hard time with your teen, there's a lot of help out there. It's okay to get your kid therapy. A lot of kids need therapy at this time because they're going through so many changes, especially as a homeschooling family. It's okay if your child has someone else that they can talk to. If you think you're going through something that's like really difficult, definitely make sure you guys are learning and getting the resources that you need, and helping your kids to be connected with other individuals and not be so isolated. I mean, there's so much that we don't know, right? Especially if this is your first time with a preteen or a teenager. Or let's say you've had a bunch of successful kids and then you have that one that's like challenging or whatever. It's going to happen, and you need to make sure that you have the support that you need and the support that your kid needs. Do whatever it is that you have to do to get that support, the knowledge and wisdom that you need. Always pray. The Bible has tons. The Proverbs, man, that book is full of wonderful advice that you can share with your teen, or at least like advise yourself. Like every morning, I won't do it every morning because I don't want to annoy my girl, but I will shoot her when I'm doing my Bible verse, and because she's in school now, I will shoot her a Proverbs, or I shoot her some sort of text like with a positive message or some sort of verbal affirmation. We'll talk about love languages in different videos. If you're interested in that, leave me a comment below because I'm reading the book now, The Teenage Love Languages. So if you guys have any other questions or anything you would like to see in a video, leave it in the comments below, because like I said, I'm reading a lot, studying a lot, learning a lot, trying to be like the best mom I can be for my kids because I love them so much. But if I can share that with you guys who are younger than me or in a different stage than I am, I would love to be there for you, helping you through this, because I wish I had it. I really did. I wish that I had someone to walk me through this, to help me through this, and I'm learning on my own. So I kind of want to be there. Well, and I definitely want to be there for those of you who are struggling with different situations. So I hope you guys got something out of this video. Please drop me some comments below. I want to thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video.